After being lost for over 24 years, the most famous car in the world has been found. Or at least we think it has. Thought to be worth $25 million, the original Aston Martin DB5, used in the classic James Bond film Goldfinger, was stolen from an airport in Florida in 1997 and has never been seen since. Until now. In a New Year's surprise, investigators working on the case announced that they have finally tracked it down to an undisclosed location in the Middle East. But how does the most famous car in the world go missing in the first place? Well, strap into your ejector seats because we're going to talk about one of the most mysterious art thefts of the 20th century, involving possibly the single most valuable and famous piece of movie memorabilia of all time. Let's start at the beginning. In 1964, Sean Connery's James Bond has taken the world by storm, and his third film appearance as the character introduced audiences to this car.
You'll be using this Aston Martin DB5 with modifications.
Eon Productions actually used 4 DB5s in the making of Goldfinger. 2 of them were used in promotional materials, while the other 2 actually appeared in the movie. The first had the chassis number DB5 1486R and was known as the road car. This appeared in the exterior driving scenes of the film. This car later had some gadgets installed in order to promote the movie with, but at the time of filming Goldfinger it was just a normal car and does not appear with any gadgets in the movie itself. No, those appear on the second car, chassis number DP21611, and this was known as the Gadget Car. It was modified by special effects legend John Steers with all of the classic Bond gadgets we know and love.
And engage and fire the passenger ejector seat. Whoosh.
Ejector seat? You're joking.
I never joke about my work, 007.
Both of these cars reappeared in the 4th Bond movie, Thunderball, but once filming was finished, their gadgets were removed, leaving the vehicles more or less in stock standard condition. It's hard to believe now, but even though James Bond was already a huge phenomenon at the time, the concept of movie memorabilia hadn't really caught on. There also wasn't much thought on the part of the filmmakers that any of the original props would need preserving, so both cars were sold in 1968. The 1486R road car sold to the philanthropist Jerry Lee for today's equivalent of about $95,000. It remained in his private possession until 2010 when he sold it for $4.6 million to car collector Harry Yeagy, who still owns it today. But we're interested in the Gadget Car, 21611. This was also sold in 1968 to some guy from Kent called Gavin, who just used it as his private vehicle. He put it up for sale again in 1969 because it was getting too small for his children. But clearly he didn't get a good enough offer for it because he had a company refitted with the gadgets from the movie and managed to sell it in 1971 to Richard Losse, a car collector from Utah who also bought Goldfinger's Rolls Royce. The car stayed in his private collection until 1986, during which time the only interesting thing it did was get driven by Roger Moore in The Cannonball Run, which is an excellent movie by the way.
I must warn you, I'm Roger Moore.
Anyway, Losse was retiring, so sold the DB5 for today's equivalent of $700,000 to one Anthony Pugliese III, a Florida-based property developer. Pugliese had a habit of spending his fortune on pop culture memorabilia and has owned, among other things, the Indiana Jones whip, some of Charlie Chaplin's canes, Christopher Reeve's Superman costume, and Oddjob's hat, another iconic Goldfinger prop that he acquired in the same auction as the DB5. For 10 years, the car remained in Pugliese's possession until 18th of June 1997, or more specifically, sometime between 4 p.m. on June the 18th and 7 a.m. on June 19th, when there was just one guard on night duty at the Boca Raton Airport in Florida. The airport was a popular spot for Florida's elite to store cars, yachts, and jets, and it was here that the DB5 sat in a secure, locked hangar at the northern end of the airport, the end not patrolled by the night watchman. To gain access, the thieves would have had to get through the airport's perimeter fence, cut through some rubber molding and a padlock in order to open the hangar door, disable the alarm, and somehow bring in a truck to move the car with. And if this sounds unbelievable, you have to remember that this was 1997, well before 9/11 changed the game for airport security. At the time, the Boca Raton Airport was not particularly busy. It didn't even have an air traffic control tower. Even today, the fence around those storage hangars doesn't look much more robust than it was in the 1990s. Anyway, once the thieves got into the hangar, they and the car vanished into the night, leaving behind only some tire marks on the floor. And until very recently, those tire tracks were the last trace of the world's most famous car for almost 25 years. When the theft was first discovered, suspicion initially fell on Pugliese himself. After all, he was paid out $4.2 million in insurance money. A month after the theft, an anonymous tip-off even claimed that Pugliese had arranged the theft to claim the insurance money and had moved the car to some of his warehouses in New Jersey. Another theory is that it was just dumped into the ocean to guarantee it would never be found. But as we have seen, Pugliese is an avid pop culture collector, and this would seem like an uncharacteristic thing to do. No evidence has ever been found linking him to the theft. The warehouses were searched by police and nothing was found, and he was ruled out as a suspect. As he pointed out himself, if he needed the money, he could have just sold the car. No, the most widely accepted theory is that the car was moved from the hangar using a flatbed or a tow truck and loaded onto a cargo plane somewhere, possibly even at Boca Raton Airport itself. Interviews by police, the insurance company, and journalists both at the time of the theft and since have confirmed that the airport didn't maintain an active record of flights in and out. And not just that, but the airport was in a region of uncontrolled airspace that was well known by drug runners and other criminals. So as crazy as it sounds now, in 1997 it's entirely plausible that a plane large enough to carry a car landed and took off in the middle of the night and no one noticed. And once it had taken off, that plane could have taken James Bond's DB5 almost anywhere in the world. But however the theft itself happened, the hunt began, and for over a decade it has been led by Christopher Marinello, the CEO and founder of Art Recovery International. Over the course of his career, his organization has recovered more than $500 million worth of stolen and looted artwork, but the James Bond DB5 remained elusive. And in the time since it was stolen, the value of movie memorabilia has skyrocketed. Luke Skywalker's lightsaber from A New Hope fetched nearly $500,000 back in 2017, while Marilyn Monroe's dress from The 7-Year Itch was sold in 2011 for over $4.5 million. But putting that to one side, stolen artwork also tends to increase in value as well. If a piece is thought to be lost, it becomes rare and exclusive, but also has a more interesting history that can be used to drive up the price. The Mona Lisa wasn't very well known until its theft in 1911. Finally, classic cars have also become increasingly attractive to collectors, regardless of any association with a movie franchise as iconic as James Bond. A 1959 Aston Martin was sold for $22.5 million in 2017, while a 1962 Ferrari fetched $48 million just a year later. Combine all of this, and the missing DB5 is now estimated to be worth $25 million. That means the car is not only one of the most valuable movie props in the world, it's also one of the most valuable pieces of lost artwork, period. And after all this time, it may finally have been found. On 31st of December 2021, news broke that Marinello's investigators, following a very credible tip-off, were confident that it had been tracked down. Art Recovery International issued a carefully worded statement saying that a witness had spotted the iconic DB5 in a private setting, and that someone had been able to verify the serial number matched that of the missing car, DP2161. But the details have still remained frustratingly vague. Even the country the car was found in has not been named, with ARI simply saying that Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait and Bahrain are particular areas of interest. The reason for the secrecy though is because the current owner of the car is not believed to have known the car was stolen when they acquired it, and ARI does not want to risk revealing any identifying or incriminating information that might jeopardize its safe return. Marinello said that, "I'm hopeful the possessor will come forward voluntarily before I have to make an announcement. It's my policy to give possessors of stolen and looted objects every opportunity to do the right thing. I think the possessor should make every effort to have a discreet, confidential discussion about how we clear the title to this iconic vehicle." So things are looking good. Assuming the car in question is in fact real and not a very elaborate fake of the original, it seems like we now know where it is and one way or another it will be recovered. 2022 marks the 60th anniversary of the cinematic James Bond. What a fantastic Diamond Jubilee present it would be for the most famous car in the world and the embodiment of the James Bond films to be returned safe and sound after all these years. As always, sources for this video are listed in the description, and I will happily post corrections in a pinned comment. But I want to particularly highlight Dave Worrell's excellent book, The Most Famous Car in the World, and the Great James Bond Car Robbery podcast. Both of these sources go into far more detail than I could ever fit into a YouTube video, so please make sure you check them out if you want to learn more, although you may have to contact your local library for a copy of the book because it's no longer in print. If you stumbled on this video through the wily ways of the YouTube algorithm, then I usually just talk about movies. But if you want to see some of my other videos where I actually, do some research, then you might enjoy the funniest video I have made, which looks at the hilarious Russian Lord of the Rings movie, or for something else that's James Bond related, you might enjoy this video where I talk in way too much detail about how the Michael Bay action classic The Rock is actually a James Bond movie. If you have made it through to the end of the video, I promise you'll like some of the other things I have made, so please check them out, and if you like them, let me know by subscribing. Thanks for watching.